The other way to think about permaculture is as a way to change the world, because of course a lot of people are motivated around permaculture as a positive, we can change the world in a positive way, rather than just endlessly trying to stop the world we don't want. Permaculture has always been about how do we create the world we do want. Well, when you start to think about those issues, most people think about how we change public policies, how you get the leverages of power pulled in a different way, so all the big structures in society get changed. That's an old way of changing the world. The sort of new way that's now sort of well proven, but still a lot of the politicos, the people who think about how do we change the world, haven't caught on that actually by changing yourself and what you do yourself, that is actually not just a little stepping stone to contributing to a larger change, it's actually arguably the most powerful thing you can do. And some of the reasons why are, firstly, if you've got a strategy or anything in permaculture, from owner building to community supported agriculture, right back to just growing your own food in your backyard, when you do something for yourself that you benefit from, that reflects the ethics and design principles of permaculture, you're doing something for yourself and you're also reducing your adverse impact on the world. But by doing something that you benefit from, that is potentially attractive to other people to say, oh, I'll do that too. Whereas the hard-bitten person who's doing something just to atone for our sins in the world is not very attractive to many other people. You know, a small proportion are motivated by such things, but most people want to get something out of it, and especially get something directly. So the permaculture strategies benefit the early adopters, and on top of that, they're simple, low-key things that other people can copy. And they often don't need permission of the authorities, of the banks to provide funding to do it. And that's really important, because a lot of these changes, if they were done at even by a proportion of the population, represent a real threat to a lot of the power structures in society. A lot of those centralised systems, the corporations, the governments with their tax base. So they would understand that a lot of this self-reliant stuff associated with permaculture is actually subversive. And so if it really took off in a large way, it might be not just not assisted, but attempts to prevent it. If that's like some advanced technology or very large-scale project, it's very easy for power elites to say, no, can't do that. And we can see the struggles over renewable energy versus fossil fuels. But if it's something that you can do at home, it's very, very hard to stop it. So on top of that, that copying allows a rapid evolution where you improve the thing, because you do one example and then you copy it and do another, and you get this incremental improvement. If we did big projects that are all driven by sustainability concepts but represent massive reallocation of society's resources, it always will end up as a mess, because somehow the complexity of those things, you might have the ideas, but when you actually go to do it, it's never quite right. So the small scale replication, rather than big giant projects, is a good learning process. And it also allows people to adapt the solutions to different situations. And that's very, very important, because every situation is slightly different. And then when you get more people doing it, that gives you, if you like, the lobbying power of, well, there's all of us over here doing this. We've got a bit of a power base through autonomy, not a power base through shouting louder to get the authorities to change policies, because that's really a powerless way to go about things. And we can see in the last 30 years how mass movements to get structures to change direction, whether it's due to engaging in foreign wars or whether it's to do with climate change, have actually been harder and harder to get those changes and requiring more and more mass movement resources. Whereas when we just do something that supports ourselves and provides an example to others, it's actually also the leverage towards a larger positive change.